What's going on, everybody? We're doing something a little bit different today. I am not from my house. I'm currently right now in Pennsylvania. And so obviously I'm not in my normal setup. I'm over here in my mother-in-law's house, and but I decided to go live from my phone. See how this works out. I don't know if I could. Hold on. Let me see if I could still have people on. Let me see something real quick. I'm gonna try to still add be a have people to click the link top of the chat to come on, but if not, then you guys are out of luck. But this past Saturday, man, can you guys believe Canelo Alvarez lost to Dimitri Bivol? I predicted that Canelo Alvarez would win the fight by decision, but I knew this was not going to be an easy fight. Like whatsoever, I knew this wasn't going to be an easy fight because Dimitri Bivol is not only a lot taller than Canelo Alvarez. I believe he's 6'1". Reports I looked it up as recently. It said he's 6 foot, but I've always remember seeing him listed as 6'1". I don't know if him and his people purposely put 6 foot, trying to make himself a little shorter, try to make sure he gets the Canelo fight. But yeah, he lost. He's the taller fighter, so that's one of the reasons why I had him picked. But on top of the fact that he's a taller fighter, because Canelo has fought tall fighters before, is his ability to use his footwork. I knew that was going to trouble Canelo. I just figured Canelo's boxing IQ is so high. He's faced guys with good footwork like Caleb Plant, Erislan De Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd Mayweather. You can even say Billy Joe Saunders had decent footwork, so he's faced a lot of styles where people had were movers, but I don't think with the combination of height and size to necessarily, size like 175 pounder, a guy who's clearly a weight class above him. I don't think he was ready for that kind of action. And that's why I was like, hey, listen, I think Canelo's going to win because, again, he has a lot of experience. He has a very high boxing IQ. But I just didn't see it being easy for Canelo. But not only was it not easy for Canelo, it might have been easy for Bivol. Like, Bivol won that fight, 10-2, 9-3? Like, he really styled on Canelo. I felt like his height advantage, and again, getting back to his footwork, gave him the ability to punch Canelo in a place where Canelo couldn't punch him. So Bivol will be in a position where he was landing his punches, and when Canelo would try to close in the distance, he either stepped back, and when Canelo did close the distance by using by using his explosiveness and jumping in, he would just cover up. And Canelo was just satisfied on punching that arm. Canelo figured he would wear that arm out, kind of like how he did with Callum Smith. And then eventually Bivol slow down and he'll be able to do his thing. But that wasn't the case at all. Yes, he did land some hellacious shots on that arm. Yes, he did mark up Bivol's arm after the fight. Bivol didn't even want to hold his belt, how much it hurt him. But it wasn't enough. And those arm shots, although, yes, they do hurt, obviously, those are not scoring blows. A scoring blow would be, a punch to the head and a punch to the body. And Canelo wasn't landing that many punches to the body. At one point, the telecast, I want to say it was like the 8th or 9th round, they showed that every single round, Bivol has landed double digits in punches, and not one single round Canelo landed double digits. So Canelo's having a trouble in landed punches. And he said that he has a rematch clause and that this doesn't stay like this and that he plans on exercising a rematch clause. But I don't think that's a good idea. I don't see him beating this guy, to be honest with you. I may be wrong. I did pick Canelo to win the first time. I thought it was a 50-50 fight going in. Now that Canelo, who has a high boxing IQ, has had a full 12 rounds with the guy, I don't discount the fact that he can adjust, see on tape what he did wrong and what he could have done better. I don't discount that, but I don't see him beating Bivol. The only thing I would say is Bivol did mention that he's willing to go down to 168 for the rematch, which, why the fuck would you give that up? Why would you give up that in negotiation out through the media. I didn't understand it. It was a bit weird for me. But hey, if that's the way he wanted to go about things, that's the way he's going about things. Hold on 1 second. I knew Bivol was dangerous. Only haters were calling him a cherry. Yeah, I like that. Listen, if you think Canelo Alvarez thought Bivol was a cherry pick, you a casual. Like, you either a casual or you a hater. One of the two. I was having that back and forth with one of my guys, Michael. Shout out to Michael on Twitter. And but I'm like, yo, bro, like when he was trying to tell me that Canelo thought he was a cherry, I'm like, there's no way he thought that. There's no way you watch tape on Bivol and you saw what he did to Joe Smith, who's now a champion. You saw what he did to Jean Pascal, who was a former world champion. You saw all those fights and you think he's a cherry pick. There's no way you think that. So if you think that, you a casual. And that's why I realized my friend on Twitter, he's a casual. There's no way the number 2 light heavyweight is a cherry pick. Who? Let me know. If Beterbiev fought Bivol, would that have been a cherry pick? If Benavidez moved up to 175 and fought Bivol, would that have been a cherry pick? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's not a cherry pick for nobody, but Canelo thought it was a cherry pick. Either Canelo's that stupid or that's not what happened. And I'm leaning towards that's not what happened. Canelo's not stupid. Canelo knows this was a tough fight. The guy had a belt. You know what I'm saying? Number 2 light heavyweight in the Ring magazine. You don't think he has access to the same information I have? You don't think he saw those fights? There's no way that Canelo thought Bivol was a cherry pick. That's just some hating ass shit. And William, I know that's not what you're saying. I'm just saying in general. That's just some hating ass shit that people like to say. I don't understand, man. Canelo, I honestly have never seen the amount of hate for a fighter than I have seen for Canelo ever. And people could be like, oh shit. My bad. Hold on. People could say, "Oh, well, Mayweather got a lot of hate," and the reason why I exclude him out is because he played the villain role. Of course, you're gonna get hate if you out here playing the villain role and then people hate you. Then you can't be like, "Oh, I have more haters than you." Yes, you playing it up. That's what you want. You saying they don't matter if they pay you to win, if they're paying to see you win, or if they pay you to see you lose. As long as they paying. That's what you say, right? I understand that. As far as Canelo, I don't think Canelo ever plays the villain role. I don't think that's his thing. So since that's not his thing, I don't see how this is a cherry. No. I mean, excuse me. I don't understand. Sorry, I was thinking of two things at the same time. I don't understand why he's getting so much hate. The guy, I don't, he doesn't come across as an unlikable guy, at least not to me. Do you think Canelo underestimated him? Or Canelo just been golfing too much? Well, I mean, I don't think he underestimated him. Again, I think he knew this was a tough fight. And again, a lot of educated boxing fans were picking Bivol, and a lot of people in the boxing business, journalists and stuff like that. And I'm sure he's privy to that. Or if he's not, I'm sure his team is. Like, oh, do you know? And I'm not saying these people pick Bivol. I honestly don't know their picks, but did you know Jake Donovan and Dan Rayfield and then Keith Idec picked Bivol? Hypothetically speaking, like you don't think that those words are getting to Canelo? No, I don't think he underestimated him. I think Bivol just fought a better fight. And as far as him golfing too much, it's funny. I want to say it was Joe Louis who also lost a fight, and people were accusing him of because he was golfing, and so I don't dismiss that. He has been golfing, and honestly, one of the things is he might have been overlooking Bivol, not necessarily underestimating, because again, I think he knew that was a tough fight. He might have been overlooking him, like, oh, I got Triple G lined up. I got a third fight in December lined up, and who knows, after that maybe I could fight Charlo. He's talking about fighting Usyk at a catchweight of 201, and it's like, are you focused in on a fight, or you just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna beat this dude. He's a tough fighter, but I'm a better fighter, so I'm gonna beat him. So let me start planning my next 3, 4, 5 fights. That's one thing I got to give credit to Mayweather. Once he signed the contract of whoever he was fighting, he was not addressing. There's a video where he went on a show on ESPN. It's called Pardon the Interruption, PTI. And he had the fight with Mosley lined up. And they kept asking him questions about Pacquiao. And he just kept curving the question, curving the question, curving the question. And at one point, the interviewer, which I want to say was Dan Le Batard, he said, just say the words Pacquiao. And he said, Mosley. So like Mayweather was laser focused once he signed the contract on who he was fighting. And I think that's what happened with Canelo. Canelo, he didn't have that laser focus. So I think he might have overlooked him. Box Talk 101, Freddie, what's going on, brother? Shout out to you. Hold on, let me see if I could pin the link to the top of the chat. Excuse me, guys, if I all right, I'm back. I think I put the link in the chat. I think so. I don't know. Anyways. Oh yeah, I did. All right, so click that link in the chat. I don't know if I could pin it. I probably can't pin it, but yeah, scroll up, watch it, click that link if you want to join and have a conversation with me. But getting back, so moving on from Canelo, yes, he's the face of boxing. Yes, he got upset, but I felt like it flooded Twitter and it's just like been nonstop Canelo haters and Canelo fans going at it. So let's move on to this Saturday. Honestly, when Showtime announced their schedule, this was the fight I most was excited about. Brian Castaño versus Jamel Charlo, a rematch of the first fight. When the first fight was a fantastic fight. The first fight was very, very entertaining. I thought Castaño won. I thought he won pretty clear too. You know, I thought he won about 8-4, maybe 7-5, but I thought he definitely won. So I'm really looking forward to this fight, both on an entertainment level and in as the how do I say, entertainment level and of an importance level. It's like a very, very important fight. He hold on one second. This is for Undisputed at 154, man. When Undisputed fights happen, it makes me excited because it gets people to stop complaining about, oh, there's too many belts, there's too many belts, too many belts. Well, in 154, whether it's 5 belts, 100 belts, 2 belts, it's undisputed. So there's only one champion. So I love that. Also, Brian Castaño said, you know, if he wins, he's willing to fight Errol Spence if he moves up in weight, which I found interesting. One, I found it interesting for 2 reasons. One, are you overlooking Charlo? This is kind of what happened to Canelo. He was talking Triple G. He was talking Usyk. He was talking all these other fighters when he wasn't focused in on the fight at hand. And 2, I find it interesting because Castaño not only beat Spence in the amateurs, also Charlo has said in the past that he won't fight Spence. You know, like, oh, you know, I'm not going to fight Spence. We're part of the same team. We're both from Texas. We're friends. Blah blah blah. So we know if he wins, that fight's not going to happen. But hey, if Castaño wins, and let's say Bud versus Spence happens at 147, and let's just say Spence wins, and he's undisputed, he'll move up to 54 and fight for undisputed again. I like that. I like the idea of that. Again, we keep that undisputed thing rolling. I feel like that's what's good for the sport. I feel like that's what'll bring the sport back to a higher prominence, higher status in the sports world than it is right now. But yeah. Oh, my man Jay, shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. What's going on? Castaño needs a knockout. Oh, yeah. Obviously, you guys read the chat, the title. Does Castaño need a knockout? I don't know if he does. The fight is in California. I spoke to sources that knew about the negotiations. The reason there's a bunch of reasons why the negotiations took so long, but one of the main reasons was They did not want the rematch in Texas. Castaño was dead set on not having this fight in Texas. He would fight his mandatory Tim Tszyu before he would have fought in Texas again, Charlo's home state. So the fight is in California. Does Castaño need a knockout? Yeah, I think so. I thought he won clearly that first fight, and not only do I think he won clearly, he also isn't the popular fighter. He isn't the fighter that would make the most money on if he won. So usually when things like that happen, the promoters, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything shady, but it just so happens every time the guy who, if he won, it would make more sense. It happens that the decision goes his way. Like, look at the Canelo Bivol fight. They had it. All three judges scored it 7-5 for Bivol. That was not a 7-5 fight. That was like a 9-3, 10-2 Bivol winning. But again, Canelo's the money man. They were looking for every reason to give Canelo that fight because he's the money man. But fortunately, Bivol was so dominant that he didn't get robbed. So I can't picture Castaño dominating Charlo to the point like how Bivol did. I can't picture Castaño dominating Charlo the way Bivol did Canelo. So yeah, I do think he needs a knockout, to be honest with you. You think Canelo should take the rematch with Bivol right away or go to 168? Yeah, I think I honestly just leave Bivol alone, bro. You lost not because you weren't the more talented fighter. You lost because that guy was too big for you, in my opinion. And it's not your weight class. Hold on, I got a caller. My man Ari Delomio. Okay.
What's good, man? Nah, I'm just chilling, going for a walk right now. Just taking my daughter for a walk. What's happening?
Nothing much, man. We talking Castaño, Charlo, and we also talking about the Canelo loss to Bivol and everything like that. What's your thought on this Saturday's fight? Because I already went over the Canelo. What's your thought on this Saturday's fight?
Yeah, I'm a little. I know we didn't talk about the Canelo situation, but I'm a little over it because I'm excited for this weekend's fight. I think it's. Bro. I know Canelo Upset is a. I didn't call it an upset actually. I was actually, but whatever. But I just wanna, we have such a good fight coming up this weekend that I'm just excited about it. And I think at least for now we should move on from the Canelo situation and just we have an undisputed fight coming up. You know what I'm saying? So
and the first fight was entertaining.
Very entertaining. I think it's gonna be a great fight again. In this particular one, I think Charlo's gonna make some adjustments. That's gonna make the difference of the fight. I think he has to stay in the center of the ring. Stay away from the ropes as much as possible. Use his jab. Use his jab. Try to back Castaño up or try to keep him, away using the jab. And like I said, just stay in the center of the ring. I know this might be a wild prediction because the first fight was so close, but I'm picking Charlo by knockout.
What round you got him?
Fifth round. He's gonna clip him.
Fifth round.
Yeah, it's gonna be early. First half of the fight.
Whoa.
It's not gonna be look. It's gonna be a highly competitive fight. What I'm saying is, it's gonna be a highly competitive fight, just like the first one. But I see Charlo clipping him in between, just clipping him, and it's not gonna be like Brian Castaño has great recovery. I've seen him hurt in a few fights, but he recovers really well. But I think Charlo's gonna do more this fight and get the knockout.
Let me ask you this: if Charlo win, is that a win for DR? Because Joan Guzman is an assistant trainer.
I don't know, man. I don't wanna go that far, man, because people get sensitive about those things. But because you know what it is, man. If Charlo loses, they're gonna blame Guzman. So
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, he'll get all the blame.
Yeah. So I don't wanna.
All right. So we'll wait until if he wins to take credit.
Yeah, we could give Joan some credit if he wins by knockout.
If he loses, I don't know. It's Derrick James' fault.
Yeah, I don't know. No, but look, it's gonna be a very competitive fight in my opinion.
I'm excited for it. And also, undercard, man, I'll be honest, I never seen
Boots.
a guy. This is one of the hottest prospect in all about. Well, he's not a prospect. One of the hottest contenders up and coming right now, and he's fighting an undefeated fighter. I'm really excited to see Boots fight, man. I'm hoping for a very active.
No, yeah, I'm very excited to see Boots again. I mean, look, man. I know, obviously, I don't like to compare fighters like that, but he reminds me of Roy Jones, man. When Roy Jones was in his prime, you know, that's the type of, I don't know. That's how I look at Boots. Like he reminds me of Roy Jones. Um, you know, a lot of things about him, but he's extremely talented. I think he also wins by knockout. I think he gets Clayton out of there. So it's gonna be some good fights.
Yeah,
I don't know who the first fight is. I think there is one fight before the Boots, but I think it's like two Spanish guys. I can't remember. Can't really remember the names.
I'm only aware of those two, but I'm excited, man. Those are some really good fights for free on Showtime. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us fans, we complain about pay-per-views. This is one of the hottest young contenders fighting undefeated fighter in the IBF eliminator. And on the main event, you have an undisputed fight, a rematch of the first fight was entertaining. And for free on Showtime, we can't complain as boxing fans.
Something also I heard. I don't know. I heard. Well, I think Errol Spence is going to be there. Errol Spence is going to be there watching the fight, and most likely, I think Terrence Crawford might be there as well. So we might see something, man. Maybe we'll get an announcement
What makes you think Terrence Crawford's going to be there?
Man, Terrence Crawford's going to be there. I heard there's plans that he's going to be there. So it'll be interesting to see.
Bro.
Listen, there's nothing, obviously. I don't have any sources. I don't have any confirmation. But I heard that Crawford might be there. So if you listen, we haven't heard anything with Errol Spence and for the Errol Spence and Crawford fight yet. But this will be the perfect weekend to announce that fight. If they made it, perfect weekend. You got an undisputed fight. Announce the next one coming up.
Oof, bro, that would make my fucking day Saturday. I'm super excited. I'm super excited at the thought of that, let alone the fact that it happened. I think the fight's gonna happen. I'm one of the I'm an optimist, I guess you can say. I actually do think that fight's gonna happen. The fact that you said it may be announced as soon as this Saturday, it definitely gets me excited, bro.
And another thing, man. Oh, so the other day, Samsung he jumped on one of the spaces.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you was on because I wasn't on. Everybody was talking about it, but I wasn't on. What happened.
So yeah, sorry, I'm just walking. That's sorry. I'm sorry. There's mad background noise. But yeah, he jumped on, and we were talking about the Dominicans and stuff. And I told him, I was like, look, man, Dominican Independence Day weekend in New York. And he was like, oh, what is the dates? And I was like, yo, August 14th. Because he was talking about, because I was asking him, I was like, hey, when should we see, when should we see like Michelle Rivera back? I don't know if you remember when we spoke to them, Michelle Rivera was probably going to come back in June or July. But he actually told us that he had to get some dental work, like one of his molars or something pulled, whatever. So he went back to DR. But he was saying, like, because I was asking him too, like, hey, when are we going to see Banana back? When are we going to see these guys back? He was like, pretty soon, probably by August. So that's when I brought it up. I was like, man, listen, Dominican Day weekend in New York, you guys got to make something happen.
I've been preaching that shit forever, man. Yo, when it happens, I'm gonna feel a little bit.
But here's the thing, man. If that shit happens, man, people, especially the Dominicans, man, they gotta fucking come out and support. Because if that shit is a flop, they're never gonna do that shit again.
That's why I'm gonna be promoting it hard on my channel. I'm gonna be forcing even my non-Dominican friends I'm gonna force them to buy tickets and all of it. I'm gonna be going hard because, like you said, if it flops, they'll never do it again. But one thing that concerns me, though, one thing that concerns me about the Dominican Day Parade card, PBC tends to put their fight in the Barclays Center. You know, the Dominicans from Washington Heights and the Bronx, some may go, but a lot of them will be like, if it was at the Garden, I would have went because it's an easier trip for them. I'm a little concerned if they put it at the Barclays Center and be like, and then the shit flop and they go, oh, we're never gonna do it again. But it's like, no, whoa.
The thing is, remember that weekend. Another thing is that weekend, a lot of those venues are packed, right? Because there's a lot of events in terms of like, the Dominican artists, they perform at different venues. Yeah. So usually that weekend, United Palace has people performing. I don't know if the Hulu Theater has some people performing, but a lot of times they do stuff at the Garden too. So it all depends, man. It all depends what's available. But listen, I think a good idea for that would be like a Thursday or Friday night, Thursday or Friday night card.
That's not a bad idea because, as Dominicans, we'll pick a party over a fight any day.
Yeah. So going back, and I'm a little over it already because, like I said, this weekend is exciting. But going back to the Canelo versus Bivol, right? I personally, I didn't pick Bivol to win because I didn't think he would get a decision unless it was like a 9-3 or 10-2, right? So I actually broke down that fight. I was like, look, I was talking to Isan, and he was like, man, listen, go watch these fights, and then let me know what you think. So I went back and I watched, Bivol versus Pascual. I watched Bivol versus Smith, and then I watched Bivol's last fight. And I broke it down. I was like, look, man, Bivol's going to give Canelo major problems because Bivol is a fighter that, obviously, you saw it. He's fundamentally sound. He boxes really well. But another thing that he does is he boxes for 3 minutes of every round. Right? He doesn't take any rounds off. He looks like he could fight for 15 rounds. You get what I'm saying? So I was like, this is going to give Canelo problems. Now, going into the fight, it's funny, I was with a friend of mine watching the fight, and Canelo, the ring walk and stuff, I don't know, there was like weird vibes. And I was like, yo, I think Canelo's going to get cooked, man. Like this
was
just,
that your prediction? You picked Bivol to win? So
my prediction was actually what actually happened. I was like, I think Canelo's gonna lose. Like, it was just that, I don't know, not just the weird vibe with the energy, but like, I was like, look, man, Bivol's style is all wrong for Canelo. Yeah. And he jabs really well. He moves his feet really well. That left hook, I knew that was gonna be there because he used that. If you go back to the John Pascal fight, he used that left hook. It's just like a sneaky short left hook, and I was like, this is going to give Canelo problems.
He was catching that left hook. But let me ask you this, because I had a back and forth on Twitter with somebody where they said that the reason Canelo picked Bivol was because he thought it was a cherry. I'm like, there's no way Canelo thought that. Like,
no fucking way.
No fucking way.
Anybody that
how's the number 2 light heavyweight in his division with a belt who's undefeated a fucking cherry?
Yeah, you know what it is? I honestly think that, look, man, I do believe that they underestimated Bivol. I think that they saw his last few performances and were like, oh, yeah, we could beat this guy. And I don't think anybody who calls it Bivol a cherry is really fucking stupid. Like, you can't call the man. The man is a champion. He's arguably he's the best or the second best. You get what I'm saying at 175. So calling him a cherry is just dumb. Yes. But I think they did underestimate Bivol. If I don't know if you saw, there was a clip posted. There was a clip posted by somebody, and it's like instructions given by Eddie Reynoso in the 12th round. Going into the 12th round, and he was like, "Oh man, he's too big. You can't knock him out. You got to do this." I was like, so their plan was to knock Bivol out. And obviously that shouldn't work, but you can't go into the type of fight like that.
But he wasn't landed any punches like significant.
Because Bivol did a great freaking job blocking everything.
No, and not only that, Bivol had a good. What he was doing it a lot of times. he was fighting Canelo at times at a distance where he could land his shots, but Canelo couldn't land his. And that's why I thought this was a 50-50 fight going in. I picked Canelo to win, but I thought it was a 50-50 fight.
See, but what I thought was,
and foot speed that Bivol has was going to trouble Canelo, and that's exactly what happened.
But that's what I'm saying. Like his foot movement, because Bivol moves in and out really well,
He's
and
so
he
smooth.
uses the jab. His jab is on point. His jab was on point. And I was telling I mean, at first I was like, man, Canelo's not losing to this guy. But then I went back, I saw some tape, and I was like, look, man, this guy's gonna give Canelo problems. And the fight played out. I didn't think Canelo was gonna get beat that bad. I thought Canelo was gonna make it more competitive. Now, what I'm thinking is, I was like, look, Canelo's probably gonna get win maybe 5 rounds. I was like, look, what I was going into the fight, I was like, look, Canelo probably win 5 rounds, but he'll get the decision because he's Canelo, right? That's what I'm thinking. I was like, the only way that Bivol wins, he's got to be Canelo 10-2 or 9-3 and make it, that obvious that you can't rob the man.
That's exactly
right?
what he
And that's
did.
exactly what we saw. We saw a 10-2, 9-3 performance, and then the judges had it 115, 113. All 3 of them had it identical. Get the fuck out of here.
Although the scorecards is definitely bullshit. I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna you. But I'm more thinking yo, let me focus on that the right man got the decision. At least that his
life. Yeah, but you know what it is.
By the way, you heard he hasn't gotten his purse.
Yeah, no. So he's gonna get his money. So what happens is, with everything going on in Russia, invading Ukraine, obviously a lot of the Russian banks are sanctioned. So, it's not like, doing that transaction, it's not going to be that easy, but he's going to get his money. It's not like he's personally not sanctioned by the U.S. government. It's, the Russian banks are sanctioned.
So hold on. He can't open up a Chase account? What the fuck?
Well, honestly, I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know I don't know what the taxes implications are for the type of visa that he has to fight in this country, right? But I'm assuming there has to be some kind of taxes, right? So if you're a foreign fighter,
he's a independent contractor. That's what a fighter.
No. I understand that,
quarterly or yearly. That's how that works.
I understand that, but what I was getting to was, for example, let's say you do, like you just said, you can't open a Chase bank account, right? So if you do that here, you're gonna get hit with the taxes in this country. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know what the situation is in terms of those foreign fighters. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they're taxed stately. And then I don't know how that works. But he'll get his money. I don't think that's a problem.
I hope so. But all right. I'm gonna let you go. I got a bunch of comments I have to respond to, but
go ahead. It was good chatting with you, man. We'll talk soon.
No, for sure. And I'll see you at the tank fight.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna hit you up so we can link up. I don't know. I'm gonna head down to the city early. I'll probably grab dinner somewhere, and then
who you going to the fight?
I don't know what time. Huh?
Who you going to the fight with?
So I'm probably gonna roll down solo. So my cousin and his wife are gonna be sitting like 5 or 6 rows behind me.
All right.
But I'm gonna be sitting by myself. But I'll probably be heading down and coming up solo. You know what I'm saying? When I go to stuff like this, I don't like going to. I just like doing my own thing.
No, I feel you. But yeah, definitely hit me up so we can link up over there.
Yeah. I was gonna hit you up actually because you live down there, so you probably know the spots where I was trying to see if people wanted to meet up, maybe after the fight, grab a drink or something like that or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I know all the spots. And I got a car too, so if we need to move around the city, we could definitely do that.
All right, sounds good, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, tato me mano.
Later.
All right, that was my man Ari. Shout out to him. one of my friends from Twitter, definitely always supporting the channel. I definitely appreciate him very, very much. Uh, Ezra from the Ezra podcast. Shout out to you. He says the fight was close last time. He's speaking about the Castaño Charlo fight. It was a close fight, but I thought Castaño won about 8-4. I don't remember my exact scorecard, but it was somewhere around 8-4. And to me, that's a pretty clear decision win for the fighter. You know what I'm saying? For Castaño. And I thought he should have got the win, but unfortunately the fight was in Texas, and that's just basically how those things play out. Charlo doesn't generate that kind of money to get those decisions. I believe he was referencing when I was saying that Castaño needs a knockout to get the win. And he's saying, Charlo's not that big of a draw where he would get that kind of favor from the judges. But where I'll push back on that is he's more known than Castaño. I could guarantee you that Jamel Charlo is more known than Brian Castaño in America. So just based off that little fact, of course he's gonna have more favor from the promoters. You know what I'm saying? And if that's who they favoring, then it just so happens. I'm not accusing anybody of nothing. It just so happens every time the promoter is more financial interest in one fighter, the decision goes that way. So I do think Castaño needs a knockout. So yeah, Castaño need a KO win to otherwise they'll rob him again. I agree. I just said that. Imagine if Marquez joined the Canelo camp to show Canelo how to counter against the ropes like he used to do in his prime. You know what's funny? Obviously, maybe you're not aware, but Juan Manuel Marquez has been very, very critical of Canelo Alvarez's career for whatever reason. So they don't get along, and so that'll never happen. That'll never happen. My man Jay, my Dominican brother, he goes, Yankee Stadium. It's summertime. Why not? I believe he's referencing the Dominican Day Parade card. Listen, man, as much as I would love that, there's a lot of Dominican in the Bronx. Yankee Stadium is just a little short bridge away from Washington Heights. As much as I would love that, Dominicans ain't drawing that amount to require a fight in Yankee Stadium. I'm just being honest with you. It's not going to happen. It's not, let's how about we get the little room in Madison Square Garden before we get Yankee Stadium? Yankee Stadium holds what, 55,000 people? Let's sell out 5,600 at the Hulu Theater in Madison Square Garden before we going into a stadium. Yeah. Canelo and Bivol have the same reach. He could have matched him jab per jab. Also, Canelo could have landed the uppercut more frequently. I don't know about match him jab for jab. I don't think his jab is as sharp as Bivol's, but I do agree with you that he should have used his jab more. His jab, he could have used it more to close the distance, as well as that jab to the body could bring Bivol's eyes and attention downstairs where he can set up a headshot later in the fight. So I do agree he did not use the jab as much as I would like him to. But Canelo's not really a jabber. To be honest, if you look at his, fights in the past, he doesn't really throw a jab. Like, that's not really a strong part of his arsenal for whatever reason. He doesn't throw the jab, but his lack of a jab really costed him in this fight because it could have at times slowed Bivol down, especially if you time his jab where you can parry his jab with your right hand and then lean in and step in with your jab as the shorter fighter and use that as a power jab to hurt Bivol. But again, he doesn't have the jab necessarily in his arsenal, let alone a parry to a power jab. So I do agree with you. He should have used his jab more. Bro, the LDBC is criticizing Clarissa Shields because she wasn't staying on code for defending Canelo. What? I don't see how Clarissa, and I know what comment you're referring to, because Clarissa Shields came out and said basically don't be too hard on Canelo. Yeah, he lost, but it happens. I'm paraphrasing. I have, it's definitely not an exact quote. How is that not staying on code when the guy who beat him is not black. Uh, I don't, but that's let me stay out of that one. I'll just say that Clarissa Shields has a right to her own opinion, and if she feels a certain way, she can comment on any fight she wants, whether the people in her community agree with it or not. But yeah, getting back to Boots Ennis, we talked about the Canelo Bivol fight. We talked about the Charlo Castaño fight. I want to talk about Boots Ennis, man. A lot of people are high on him. Philadelphia product. Philadelphia, they've now coming up. They had Danny Garcia for a little bit. He seems to have fallen off, but Stephen Fulton stepping up. And now Boots Ennis, who's not a champion yet, but that's only a matter of time. You know damn well he's getting a belt within his career. I'm excited to see this fight. It's for an IBF eliminator. So if the fight with with Spence and Bud don't get made, the IBF has not been mandated in the welterweight division in a very, very long time. So if he beats him and there's no unification between Bud and Spence, we may be seeing Spence versus Boots. Don't discount that because the IBF don't play with their mandatories. The IBF will strip you right away. They'll be like, all right, you have 30 days to negotiate. If not, we're bringing the purse bid. All right, no, you're not going to come to the purse bid. All right, you stripped. All right, the number one guy in Boots is fighting the number two guy for a vacant. Like, they're quick like that. So I like that. I like that this is for IBF eliminator. This means that Boots Ennis is going to be a player in the welterweight division very, very soon. I feel unprepared. I've never watched the guy he's going to fight, but what I have heard is that the guy's more of a boxer than a come forward fighter. So it'd be interesting as to see how Boots handles that. How does Boots handle a guy who's not just going to stay in front of him, who's not going to just sit there and try to trade? The guy who's maybe going to try to box and move around. Does Boots Ennis have enough speed and power to slow the guy down or to time him or to frustrate him? Or does he have, does it give a problem? Does it give him problems? He'll answer all those questions come this Saturday. I'm excited for it. I really am. But yeah, man, guys, if you guys want to call in, scroll up. I pinned the link to the top of the chat. Oh, I did not pin the link to the top of the chat, but just scroll up in the comments section, and I have the link there, and you can click that link and definitely have a conversation with me, just like Ari did just earlier. Boots versus Julian Williams at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly if he can't get a title shot. That Julian Williams is 54-pounder. All right, hold on. I got Jay.
What's good, bro? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. What's good, man? How's everything?
Everything is going good, man.
How's fatherhood, bro?
What'd you think about the fight last week and the fight this Saturday coming up?
All right, last week, the weekend pass. To be honest, I knew Bivol was going to be a little bit too big. He's been light heavy his whole career. I followed his whole career, and I felt like his jab was just going to keep Canelo at bay, and that's the same thing that Triple G was able to use. So it's basically you scaling them up to a bigger dude, and I already knew that was going to give him problems. But I did think he was going to get robbed, so it was up in the air, and he almost did.
No, he definitely almost did. 7-5. That wasn't no 7-5 fight, man. I've been watching.
Hell no.
Life, man. That was not a 7-5 fight. So he definitely getting robbed.
And to be honest, I think that's what's gonna fuck Canelo's head up and thinking, oh, I should just do the rematch because I almost won.
Yo, Canelo. I honestly, I thought this was a dumb fight to take. Why? That was the hardest fight he could have took south of 175, in my opinion. I think Bivol is a harder fight than Beterbiev, to be honest with you, for Canelo. But he took that fight for whatever reason, and look, stupid decision give you these kind of results.
I'm glad he didn't fight Beterbiev because Beterbiev might have hit him a bit too hard, bro. That should have been worse. Yeah,
but Beterbiev was definitely some crazy goon motherfucker who wants to just go in there and kill somebody. So
facts.
Canelo, him roughing up Canelo, but I think Canelo will be able to handle that more in a sense that as far as pulling out a win, obviously he would have left a little bit more bruised up, a little bit more hurt. But I feel like Canelo would have been able to handle that more than he would a Bivol who, is kind of a mover and knows how to outpoint you. You
And
get what
throws mad punches. Mad
Yeah,
punches.
he made Canelo work. Canelo definitely he didn't go put it on. He didn't go harder in those last few rounds, not because he was scared, not because he was hurt. It was because he was tired, man. Like Bivol really, really made him work for everything he got.
Oh yeah. But in terms of the fights coming up, to be honest, I'm more excited for Ennis and Fulton and all that than I am for fucking Davis and Romero. I think that's a Davis win all day. And what I really wanted to ask you about, as a matter of fact, because of what we just witnessed, is the Cambosos Haney fight. Like, I feel like they're gonna rob Haney no matter what happens, bro. Because it's Australia.
Listen, they do have neutral judges. I don't know if that matters to you at all. They do have neutral judges, and if to be fair, when Devin Haney wins, he wins pretty clearly. Like even I don't know. You've been watching my channel for a while. You know I'm pretty hard on Haney, but he does dominate.
Pillow punch. Yep.
He dominated Linares. He did get hurt in that fight, but he did dominate. He dominated Jojo Diaz. He did get roughed up in that 12th round. There was a couple rounds he actually got roughed up as well, but in particularly that 12th round. But he did dominate the fight. He dominated Gamboa in a boring fight, but he did dominate. So he tends to win his fight very, very clearly. And so that works to his advantage. He's not particularly a power puncher, so him knocking him out and not having it go to the judges is pretty unlikely. But yeah, we'll see how that fight plays out. That's another fight I'm really excited for. It's another undisputed fight.
Right. Now, a lot of people, I've been debating this shit like crazy with a lot of people, because a lot of people, after he Cambosos beat Lopez, they were like, oh, he got skills, for me, my opinion, to be honest, is that I think he took advantage of a situation where somebody overlooked him, and he did what he had to do. But in terms of skill level, I just don't see him being as skilled as Haney. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you that he doesn't have the skills that Devin Haney has. But where I'll disagree with you is, and again, maybe I'm biased because I saw the fight live. I saw T.O. versus Haney live. He was so fast, and I'm somebody who goes to a lot of live fights. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, this is the first time I've been to a boxing event. I didn't realize how fast fighters are. His foot speed and hand speed were so quick. He would jump in, land 2, 3, 4, 5 punches, and jump right out. And I think that Devin Haney is used to being the faster fighter in the fight, and so that may throw him off, and he may not know how to handle that. So as far as skills, I agree with you, but not in terms of hand speed and foot speed. I think he's faster.
That's why I'm more pumped for that fight than the one this weekend, bro. Because that's more intriguing.
Wow, really? You're more? I mean, the reason I'm more pumped for this fight this Saturday is because the first fight was so entertaining, and the likelihood for a knockout in this fight is, I feel, higher than that than Haney Cambosos. So I'm definitely looking more forward to this Saturday than any other fight. Than that fight, excuse me. Well, yeah, any other fight. Honestly, any fight on the schedule right now, that's the fight I'm most looking forward to, and it's this Saturday. But yeah, I'm excited for that fight too. So you're definitely not alone on that one.
All right, no doubt. What do you think about Inoue versus Donaire, the rematch?
Woof. I mean, listen, the obvious pick is Inoue. That's the obvious pick. But the thing is that Nonito Donaire is a special puncher. He's knocking guys out in his 40s. He broke Inoue's eye in the first fight. Remember that knockout against Fernando Montiel? We had Montiel drooling all over the floor and arms locking up. Like, the guy has serious power. He just lacks a lot of skills. And I'm picking Inoue, but I am not going to discount Donaire landing one lucky punch and knocking out a no. I don't discount that at all.
Yeah, that left hook. If he lands that, even without looking, it's over.
Bro, I never like in terms of the little guys, him and Nue. I mean, Michael Carbajal back in the days also was a big punch in the little guys because he's definitely top 5 south of 118 of all time. Top 5 of power puncher.
Facts, bro. Well, all right, man. It's nice chatting with you, bro. You already know.
I appreciate you calling in, man. You always supporting, man. I definitely
always,
my brother.
You already know, bro. Keep doing what you're doing.
Peace.
Later.
All right, shout out to Jay, my Dominican brother, for calling in and giving me his boxing opinion and all that, asking me all the questions. Oh, also, I haven't given a prediction for this Saturday's fight. So the way I see this fight going, Castaño, Charlo, I picture Castaño bullying Charlo, putting him on the ropes and landing them shots, and pretty much a replay of the first fight. And little by little, Charlo keeps landing and clipping Castaño. And come around 9-10, I picture Charlo landing a nice clean punch and knocking out Castaño. Not necessarily with one punch, but a clean punch where maybe he hurts him and then finishes him off. I do think that Charlo, in order to win this fight, has to be more active. That's kind of what costed him the first fight. He was not as active as I would have liked him to see, as I would have liked to see. But he, in between when he was landing, he was hurting Castaño. It was just a matter of him being a little bit more active. So I do think he has to be a little bit more active and increase his accuracy. There was times where he would hurt Castaño and was missing a bunch of punches and the punches was landing on the gloves. Maybe mixing it up downstairs, upstairs, the punches. There's a lot of little things he can improve, but again, he has a strong corner. He has Derek James, who's Errol Spence trainer, one of the best trainers in all of boxing. He also has Joan Guzman, who's a very, very skilled fighter as an assistant trainer. So, he's going to be helping him make adjustments. But yeah, I'm picking Charlo by, let's call it 11th round knockout. 11th round knockout. By the way, everybody watching, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. As you guys know, I'm trying to get my channel to grow. The only way to grow is if you guys hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. All things that I'm asking for are free for you to do. I'm not asking you for any money. Just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But yeah, by the way, what's interesting is that if this fight, after this fight, there's a run of mandatories that need to be handled. There's the WBO mandatory, which is Tim Tszyu. There's the WBC mandatory, which is Sebastian Fundora. And then the IBF and the WBA, they're both some Eastern European mandatories. So whoever wins this fight, who thinks that Jay's just gonna fight a Crawford or just gonna fight a Spence, they're gonna have to either pay a lot of step aside money, or they're going to have to take care of these mandatories. And to be honest, the Tim Tszyu mandatory may be for big money because from what I understand, Tim Tszyu is a big draw in Australia. And although he fought in Minnesota and maybe didn't pack the house out, if you're telling me that if he's a big draw in Australia and then he's fighting for undisputed against either the winner of Charlo Castaño, you telling me he's not going to bring a lot of money? Also, the Australian TV rights, that's going to be big money. I think that's what's going to happen. There's a host of fucking mandatories for the winner. If the winner doesn't vacate a title to fight, let's say a Spence or let's say a Crawford moving up. My man VV got Brian Castaño by decision. That's interesting. You don't think Castaño needs a knockout, I'm assuming. You think the judges are going to call it fair and square? Not going to favor the American fighter? Okay, VV. By the way, VV, if you want to call in, the link is, I can't pin it to the top of the chat, but if you scroll up in the chat, if you want to call in, just click that link. I can have you on. We can have a conversation. But yeah, man. I'm interested as to seeing how Boots looks, man. I'm really, really high on Boots. I do want to see more of him before I crown him the next pound for pound king, you know. But all I have to say is that he's passed every test with flying colors, to be honest with you. He's passed every test with flying colors. I can't dismiss all these knockouts that he's getting and all these. I don't believe he's lost a scorecard on any scorecard he's ever fought on. He's either all ended by knockouts or unanimous decisions. So he's a very, very good fighter. Yeah, and I'm excited because his career is just right about to start. Hold on, I got a caller. My man VV. What's going on, my brother?
Good evening. It's a good evening. I'm ready for Castaño Charlo Canelo fight happening already. People still talk about with middle of the week. We're getting ready for a rematch for, in my opinion, one of the best fights of 2021. I got Castaño by decision.
Break down that fight. Why do you see Castaño getting the decision as opposed to him getting a knockout or getting knocked out himself?
I don't know. I think I saw what I needed to see in the last fight. I think if Charlo wants a chance to win, he's really gonna have to stand his ground. And the way Castaño was able to really get inside as easy as he could by using his jab well and starting to smother Jamel. Charlo looked he looked timid on the ropes. I don't know why he was so confident there because he looked kind of scared and he was like smothering his work. And I think we're gonna see more of that this fight. With the fight being in California, though, you know, I think Castaño will get a fair shake, and I think he'll be the rightful undisputed champion.
I definitely do agree with you that he definitely showed that he was the stronger fighter. I mean, physically stronger than in the first fight. So I definitely can see that. The only thing that concerns me if I'm in the Castaño camp is every time Charlo landed clean, sharp, he hurt Castaño. He just wasn't able to finish the job because maybe he you know, he was like, how do I say, like kind of like rushing his work. As well as, you know, Castaño did a good job of keeping his hands up. So you don't worry that Castaño could get caught in between his shots and get hurt by the bigger puncher in Charlo?
I think that's always a possibility, especially a guy like Jamel Charlo who can really shut your lights off with either hand. I think Castaño is also aware of that, especially after he got hurt like 3 or 4 times in the last fight. So he'll have to be wary coming in. But at the end of the day, I think Castaño will do his best to nullify that right hand.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What do you think about Boots on the undercard?
I think it's a good fight for his career. I thought Custio Clayton was really the perfect fight that he could take right now. I believe Clayton's like number 2 in the IBF or something, or at least he was before he got docked off for being inactive or whatever. So I think it's a good fight for Boots. I'm not really that interested in the fight. I don't think Custio Clayton's anywhere near the level of Boots. I think Boots would just run through him, but I understand why the fight's happening.
Yo, when you getting a YouTube channel, man, I gotta push you to start one.
Probably never. I don't know, cause like with YouTube, you got to be like a really good talker, and you got to be able to like hold conversations, things like that. And usually, I'm more of someone that can kind of like jump off of other people's energy, etc. I don't really know if I could go on, especially like how you'd be going for like an hour or whatever, talking about whatever. I don't think I could do that.
Oh, all right. Nah, man. I find you really entertaining in these Twitter spaces, and when you jump on, it's always a blessing. I always have fun with you, so I was like, let me ask him now that I got him on, because I've always thought about it. I was like, Vivi will be good on YouTube, but I guess if you don't feel comfortable having a long conversation to a camera, you know, I can understand that. It's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, no, Nika was telling me the same thing like about a month or 2 ago, and I've thought about it before because I think it could do like okay, but it's just not really my thing. I'd much rather just like support other people that already have YouTube channel, Twitter Spaces, whatever. Just go talk to them.
Nah, that's what's up. But before I let you go, what did you make of? By the way, you were on my channel and you correctly predicted that Dimitri Bivol was going to win by unanimous decision. So I definitely want to give you credit for getting that prediction right. I got it wrong. I picked Canelo by decision. But what did you make of the fight last weekend, Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol?
I mean, it kind of went somewhat how I expected. I didn't expect Bivol to come out and just like walk him down and really big man him. Although Bivol was kind of saying that he would do so. He was like talking about how he's the bigger man and he's not just gonna let Canelo go in there and run him over. But I thought Bivol kind of showed the same things that he's always shown. He was I never understood the narrative that he was slow or inactive. He's always been throwing a lot of volume for a guy at 175, and he was basically everything wrong for Canelo. Things that like Floyd and Golovkin and Lara, those kind of trouble. Bivol kind of mixed it together and really got the perfect recipe to beat Canelo.
No, I definitely agree with you. Well, what do you make of people calling Bivol a cherry pick gone wrong? Because I think that's a stupid way of thinking. I don't think that anybody thought that this was a cherry pick. Bivol wouldn't be a cherry pick for anybody, let alone Canelo. What did you make of that? People saying that, because I know you saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, I've been seeing it since the fight was announced. I never thought that was accurate. I've said for quite some time that Dimitri Bivol would always be Canelo's toughest fight. I think Canelo can beat the likes of David Benavidez, Jamel Charlo, even Artur Beterbiev, but I never saw him beating Bivol. I never really saw a way. So to say that's a cherry pick is just beyond foolish. It shows a lack of knowledge when it comes to Bivol's game.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. All right. Thank you so much for hopping on, Vivi. You know you always welcome on my channel, and I always enjoy your conversation with you, as well as on the Twitter Spaces as well.
All right, you have a good evening. It was fun. I'll be back sometime.
All right, man, Vivi. I appreciate you, guys. Thank you. Well, hold on before I let you go. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo wins a rematch. I wouldn't be surprised either, but I wouldn't pick him to win a rematch. I think Bivol's just all too wrong for him. I think he's too tall. He has good footwork, good jab. He's the much bigger fighter. He's a 175-pounder. And Canelo really didn't have an answer for that jab. It wasn't like towards the end of the fight he figured out the jab, but it was already too late. He just never figured out how to counter the jab, or how to not get hit with that jab. So I will say that I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo wins a rematch, like you just said. I wouldn't, but I wouldn't pick him to win that rematch. Hold on 1 second. Karma says, I think Charlo is going to KO him this time. I agree with you, Karma. Shout out to you. That's another friend of mine from Twitter. But all right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. And I've been on here for an hour. My arm is like sore because I'm streaming from my cell phone. I had a lot of fun with you guys. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Of course, I'm the voice of Dominican boxing. By the way, as you guys see, I'm not home, so that's why I'm streaming like this. I have a lot of fucking interviews, lined up, ready to go. People waiting for me to give them the call, give them the date to interview them. It's just I've been so busy, I haven't been able to lock them down. But don't worry, for those of you that love my interviews and want to hear more about fight, especially Dominican fighters. Not all the guys that, by the way, that the interviews I have lined up are Dominican, but most are. For those of you who love my interviews with Dominican fighters, I have a lot of them lined up. It's just a matter of me getting a little bit less busy and making it happen and working with their schedule. But all right, guys, that's my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, peace.